head forward, it looks a little more aggressive.
You can't really talk about Heimdall without talking about the Rainbow Bridge, because Heimdall's is sort of the tap for turning it on or off and for aiming it to your destination.
We wanted to find a way to make space travel exciting, necessary to our story. How do you get from one place to the other? And then how do you meet that challenge of perhaps the most colorful and one of the most memorable of images in all the comics is the Rainbow Bridge, the Bifrost, which goes like a sort of motorway or freeway all the way down from the great asteroid island in the sky that is Asgard at the top of the universe, all the way down to Earth. We needed to come up with a real bridge, we felt, and then we needed the image and the sort of symbolic value of a bridge to suggest how energy particulates people or beings and sends them back through. And we wanted that through light energy as well, energy that could occasionally evoke a rainbow. And we found that a bridge and rainbows, though those were good, strong, individualist starting points, and then our job was to make it cool.
We spent a lot of time generating various versions of what the Rainbow Bridge should look like, and we looked at it just full-on rainbow, we looked at it just moving, pulsing electron energy, and it's somewhere in there and is never really static.
We've sort of locked into a look that relates to the quartz mineral. So if the Rainbow Bridge was built with quartz, that's very much the light that would be emanating from it. We've also had contact points, so as the Asgardians walk on the Rainbow Bridge, there's contact and you feel the energy of the Rainbow Bridge, which I think is a cool effect.
In movies, it's good to have a visual or a physical representation of a proper environment that explains what is going on here. This is the portal from Asgard to the other 9 realms. This is where the Bifrost connects with the rest of the universe. You need the physical contraption to illustrate it.
Always played with the banishment to Earth. In early drafts, it was Earth of the Viking era, and we developed that story for a while. But we started to realize the contrast between Asgard and Earth in that case. They were equally alien to the audience, and it didn't work as well. We realized we could open up a whole other avenue by bringing it to contemporary Earth.
After you've designed Asgard, Jotunheim, the Rainbow Bridge, Heimdall's, by comparison, Earth's like a holiday. Nevertheless, it has to fit within a cohesive universe within the film.
I liked the idea of a kind of idealized small-town America, in this case a sort of small-town New Mexico, with a sort of hopperish kind of quality to the layout of the streets and to some of the buildings, and for those shapes to mirror and resonate some of the shapes in Asgard, because we needed both to celebrate the distinction between the worlds and the approaches, but also to make all of these images feel as though they belonged in the same movie.
What we decided early on was that Asgard and the 9 realms are up there, and they are causing disturbances in the sky. So a small town on a vast desert with a big sky was the concept. I wanted the little town on Earth into which Thor was tossed by his father to be almost a character, so that you would look at this town and its inhabitants and develop some empathy for them, so that when Destroyer came to Earth and started blowing it up, you would feel it in your heart. I mean, we wanted to feel real, and I think it does.
Audiences are incredibly sophisticated. You can't fool them with cheap synthetic versions of things. Everything has to be brilliantly executed. So Bo has offered dozens and dozens of different ways of looking at Earth. Of course, inspirations from the comics and inspirations from the desert of New Mexico.
It's really one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in, and there's so many incredible landscapes in such a small area. It's pretty incredible to, you know, have a set where 360 you have beautiful mountains and sort of wide open spaces.
Being in the middle of this vastness meant that there was a little bit of Asgard in feel on Earth as well. You know, up there it's an island in the vast sea of space, and down in New Mexico it's an island in the vast sea of the desert.
The other thing I was hoping to achieve was to echo the design of Asgard. So on Asgard, you have Heimdall's observatory, which is the entrance, really, to Asgard across the Rainbow Bridge to a central palace flanked by buildings. In our town, Puente Antiguo, we have one street that comes out of the desert, flanked by buildings, leading to an old car dealership that, in a weird way, echoes the shape of the Asgard palace. It's a much more modest and heartbreaking version of Asgard. Nonetheless, I think it visually echoes the other.